All right. Another day. So it was quite interesting yesterday, the topic. And some of you continued discussing about it on Discord. It's really fascinating to listen into, but you know, it's a bit of a tricky subject. But like one thing that is a takeaway is most likely that you have to consider how you want to use and which platform you want to use. And because I think it's such a dynamic entity, any of these social platforms, like what time to post, what hashtags to use. But one thing though I kind of want to discuss is that it isn't mandatory to use social media. It is just one way of many to get hired, obviously. Hey Zalin in his graphics, how's it going? Yeah, but like social media isn't mandatory to get hired. I mean, obviously, what it comes down to, like brass tacks, is skills. It doesn't matter. I mean, in the big picture, skills will always generate appreciation. Hey Kirill, how's it going? Привет. But you always like skill always is the driving factor in the end. Hey, Dr. Sheldon. So, I mean, I know people who are absolute monsters, like insane skills that don't have an online presence. They go to their job, which is being an artist, and they absolutely slay. and then they don't tweet about it. They don't Facebook anything. They're absolute ninja in social media. They probably have a website, obviously, but it's gonna be hard to find those badass people online, like their online presence, because they don't care. But yet they are fully employed artists. You know, they've made it. And I think that it's an important thing to consider as well, is that social media isn't everything, but it is a part of the industry now, or at least an online presence. You know, but and again, at the end of it, it's all down to skills, anyways. Any suggestions on what to draw? Please do suggest, or is it dealer's choice? Kirill, yeah, absolutely. And when it comes down to it, skill is what will be the determining factor if it's success, if you are successful or not. And that's hard work and determination. A mouse. Blow dart hunter. Hey, Spruvast. Morning. So we got mouse, blow dart hunter. Any other topics? Yesterday I did the anteater flamethrower. So it was fun. I feel like painting light to dark again, so I'm gonna do that today. with whatever topic it is gets chosen. Soul Gem Spellcaster, Woolly Mammoth. That's pretty cool. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm gonna roll the dice. If there's any other drop-ins while I navigate internets, that's how it is. We're gonna roll again. So it's official number 3. Which one is my number 3? Soul Gem Spellcaster by Kirill. Soul Gem Spellcaster. Spellcaster is one word, right? I think. Soul Gem Spellcaster. Soul Gem Spellcaster. Okay, like, hey, Simile Kim, how's it going? Or Simile. The first idea I had was someone holding a gem and casting. Standard word, smash. Soul Gem Spellcaster. Second thought, is it a small spellcaster? Like a ent? Imp on top of a soul gem? And like, yeah, power, finally getting a soul gem. Or is it soul gem like Avengers soul gem, which I don't know about. So I will go with the second thought, the imp, little imp on a big gem. And I see him the same kind of spellcaster pose, but standing like hero pose on top of a gem. So it's like layers there. That's what's there. So let's see if we can put it into this world. Like the first idea clearly was just generic, right? First idea, first come, first served type thing. And it's never really a good idea to go all in on the first idea. That's why we, for example, that's why we do thumbnails and all these things, so we can expel our demons. And that's the whole idea. Like I've mentioned this before on the stream, but there's a concept artist now, fine artist called Andrew Jones, also known as Android Jones. And nowadays he does these pattern paintings. Like he's a showman now more than anything. He do these lives accompanied to music or projections on. He even painted with a massive projection setup onto the Sydney Opera House. He painted like a geisha inspired, like it looks almost procedural, live moving illustrations in company with the orchestra, I think he did. Hey, Miss Monster.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Happy 7 months, Bjorn and Warmup community. A massive amount of appreciation, Miss Monster. That's crazy. Thank you very much. I truly mean it. Each and every one of you who subscribe, you have no idea how it makes it all extra much more fun. And I'm always contemplating like what to do, what to do with the support you give me. It's always fascinating. Anyways, so where was I? Oh yeah, Andrew Jones. So what Andrew Jones told me a long time ago was never like that. He said that the first 10. This was at the workshop he was at, like a massive black workshop, 2000 before, he said like the first 10 ideas on a paper is usually the things you've seen before, the shapes you've looked at recently, the things that are fresh in the memory, someone else's idea that you were impressed by, and it's not a true exploration, like a true dig deep, digging deep type thing, you know, where you fully explore visually a topic. Like if you go robot, the first idea of a robot is most likely the idea of a robot that you've seen someone else do. So that's what he said, like always sketch out all the ideas. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think it's really important that that one, especially as a concept artist, practice variations. Hey Morphia, how's it going? Because everyone has ideas, right? Everyone has a assumption of what the things are. Like Soulgem Spellcaster, like today, right? The first idea was I literally just smashed the words together and made a spellcaster. I could have easily jumped into that like that topic, right? And maybe not necessarily would be a great idea. So Miss Monster, yeah, that's good. Zialin, that's funny. Zialin. Well, that's also true. That's also true. But like in this instance, right now I'm making the second idea, which I dove into, right? So I'm going head first into the second idea, and the second idea is an imp on top of a soul gem spell casting. But the second idea itself, the assumption of what I'm doing is also probably quite generic, you know. Oh, an imp, it's a little thing, half demon, crazy thing, right? And then when you hear those things, you go, oh, that's what they look like, and you don't explore that aspect of it, even though I'm not going with the first idea, I'm going with the second idea, but the second idea itself has also layers to it. Are you feeling solid? Soul Gem Spellcaster, topic by Kirill here. Miss Monster, it looks like a big gown. It can be, like the bell shape. Yeah, it's true. Hey Kilrathi, how's it going? Good morning. Invis graphics. Yeah, absolutely. And on the topic of, let's say, Beethoven, where he produced a lot more and more good, and it's definitely that. I think as an artist, if you put all your eggs in one basket, you have just one picture to draw, the chances are it's going to be not that good. And the better you are, the higher the chances of you making something great will be, right? Because you have more skills, you have more understanding, and thus can produce a better quality off-the-cuff drawing. But we are all, a concept can, as in not a concept designer concept, but the concept of being an artist and wanting to express something is that it's also not set in stone what we want to express and the means of expressing it, right? So there's always experimentation, there's always random occurrence of happy accidents or unhappy accidents during the process. You know, you never know really the outcome until it's finished. I mean, let's say you can draw a hand. You can draw the same hand 10 times, and every time the hand will come out differently. It will never be exactly the same hand. You will be able to tell them apart, and you will be able to say which is better and which is worse. That in itself you have to remember, you know, that not everything you're gonna do is gonna be a slam dunk, even though you prep for the best scenario or the best outcome. You've done all your research, you've done all your homework, you are ready. There's always a chance of a random variation that doesn't make it as good as it can be. So you do it again. You know? Eric Moy, how's it going? Weeping Jay, how's it going? Hey Japamu, how's it going? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, so like you shouldn't be discouraged that a painting didn't come out the way you wanted it to be, and yeah, I saw Japamu, really cool. So it brings me back to a thing I've always discussed, or always thought rather. I'll show you. I'll try to explain it. So this is, top is absolute perfection, bottom is absolute dog shit. There's dog shit, perfection. So like when you start out doing art, you first have to deal with this block, and it's like the basics. Hold a pen, understand principles, be able to draw, whatever, you know, the technical aspect. And then when you're beyond that, let's say this is anyone's fighting chance of hitting absolute perfection at a starting from day one. There is a chance you hit absolute perfection, but the percentage of that being true or happening, there's way too many variables. So as I see it, is that depending on your skill level, you have different scopes. So depending, this is how much you learn, right? And there's always a shift in percentage. Like there's a huge chance that whatever you do will be at the bottom. You're only as good as your worst drawing, right? And now and then you'll hit gold or better and worse days, right? So you end up at different depths of knowledge or results, right? You get good result, bad result, but that's your range. And the more specialized you are, the narrower the scope is, but the scope moves up. And the more varied you are, the scope increases and it moves up, but you have higher miss and success and fail the more you move up. So the roof will always be, or the bottom will always be further down if you do everything. And the more specialized you are, the tighter the scope, and the better you will be at that one thing. And it's like, and to get to that point is impossible. That's how I see like progression as an artist. So every time you do a study, learn something new, you move the scope up, and the more fundamentals you practice, the more narrower your range will be. So you will have less chance of failure. That's my crazy idea about how knowledge works. If that makes any sense. So the reason why it dawned on me to take that up is that with, for example, when you explore ideas, you explore variations, you explore solutions, you're reducing the scope of failure. So you're tightening the range of failure more. The more you practice, the more you do what's called due diligence, the things you need to do, and you'll just set it up for success more. But the fact that there is a range of failure versus absolute perfection within your skill range, one should keep that in mind, that just because you failed or failing doesn't mean you're shit. You know, it just means you need to practice on narrowing the scope so that you can get a better result. And sometimes those hurdles are quite big. And one thing also that you should keep in mind is the more you are aware of your mistakes, if you see your mistakes, that means you're already working towards moving up, because you understand what you're doing wrong. And when you understand, the point is when you understand what you're doing wrong, it means you have a knowledge of how that you are making that mistake, so you can always address it, which means you will move up. Casey, fail faster. Well, yeah, in a way. I mean, you need to learn from your mistakes, right? And also when you're doing these like art and so on, and there's mistakes and failures, and the question is what you do with that knowledge. Hide from it and don't acknowledge what you've done wrong, which will lead you to do the same mistake again. And even though you are aware of your mistake, and even though you are trying to limit it, chances are that you will be making that mistake. But the fact that you are aware of it will make you, oh, I'm making that mistake again. And you can consciously steer away from worsening. Simili Kim. When that happens, I am aware of why. And usually, when you can't finish a piece, it means it's broken, fundamentally broken. There is something in the structure, approach, palette, proportions, something that isn't correct. It could also be topic, it could be the execution of the topic, it could be the X amount of random occurrences while making it that starts out great, and you've taken a left when you should have taken a right at some point, and you end up digging yourself deeper into the hole, right? So what I always try to do at those scenarios is redo. Sad, but if you have a version where you have yet to take the left when you should have taken a right, go back to that version, think about where you went and go, okay, those are the mistakes I did. I should not do that. The texture is wrong, or the lighting is flat, or whatever. Okay, now I'm at this point. From this point forward, I will keep these things in mind because I messed up the first time. Or burn it with fire. Let it just die. Chances are, if you have to redo it, you'll do it better. Because you've already went down that road once and you know the mistakes you did. So if you have to do it again, you'll most likely do it faster, more accurate, and more on point. But sometimes that also isn't true. Because, you know, there's always a range of random occurrences and decisions, and like you can draw the same pose of a hand 10 times, each hand will look different, even though you're drawing exactly the same hand. Hey, Captain Boss, how's it going? Oh! So, it's important to remember, like, yet again, another artist said a fantastic thing on a workshop, which was, it doesn't matter how much you polish a piece of shit, it's still gonna be a piece of shit, you know. It can be the most beautiful piece of shit in the world, but when it comes down to it, it's shit, you know. And when I heard it the first time, I giggled and went like, it's so very true. And it is so very true. You know, you can make something look okay, but it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be shit. So it's important to limit, you know, understand where you went wrong, fix it. If it's shitty, there's no point in wasting time in making something that's fundamentally flawed look good. Like, look at my great looking mistake. It's like, maybe not invest time in improving that piece, you know. Yeah. But it's true though. It was just the crudeness of it that was made me giggle, you know. It's extremely true. And I have a vague memory of it in being in conjunction with a portfolio review of this particular person. I don't want to mention the person, but it was like it was quite on point. So when, for example, when I feedback some artists and they've gone down a route that's not good, like I usually tell them, like, okay, at work, these are the mistakes, and I'll allow them a try to fix it. But sometimes they just need to restart, and you're just gonna tell them, like, no, just restart. Like, leave it, do another one. It's the only way to do it sometimes. And you can also see, notice it in artists, in me myself as well. If you get too married to an idea and you can't shake it, and even though you try to adjust the design, there's too many parameters within the design that keeps you in prison you can't shake it, like, because if you're gonna do major changes, you're gonna dilute the idea. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna try to navigate here in this path and make it work, and it's like, like you just okay, kill it, leave it. What's done is done. Let's make another one. Keep these things in mind. And it's so easy to get stuck, not being able to shake an idea. And you just, like, I think that's one of the benefits of sketchbooks, and not having your sketchbook as a art gallery, but have it as an experimental place, is that you kind of teach yourself not to worry too much of a concept, or a concept as in a train of thought rather than design, So if you have a specific idea, you sketch it out, like, turn that shit, next page, and then you might explore the same idea again, and then you realize, it's shit, the next one. Hey, Simile Kim, thanks for those delicious bits. Miss Monster. Yeah, definitely kill your darlings. In with graphics, well, it's up to them really. I can see the benefits of using your sketchbook like a gallery. It's great to look through. It's a skill set all in itself, to be able to work on something for a very long time and have it work to perfection. You iron out the flaws, and so on. That's a skill set that's great to practice. And I could definitely see the benefits of doing that. But again, we're coming back to the topic of Instagram yesterday, and posting sketches or finished art, and so on. And it comes down to who you are and what you want to practice, right? I know a lot of illustration friends who treat their sketchbooks like a piece of art, like they each page is carefully crafted, and they spend hours at an end on one corner of their sketchbook, like making it perfect and all these things. And I think there's nothing wrong with it, and it's a great practice for them, because what they do for work is that, pushing something for a month at a time. One single illustration take a month to make, or 2 weeks or whatever. And then you gotta have the patience, you gotta have the understanding, you gotta have the ability to push something to that extent. And you can only do that through practice. It's not like Gumroad. Because it comes down to so many things of personal choice. Technical, aesthetics, mannerism, a lot of these things that dictate something that takes that long, right? And I don't treat my sketchbooks that way, because my day-to-day practice isn't month-long illustrations. It's what I'm doing now, is concepting an idea at a very rapid pace, to visualize it, to minimize downtime for a studio that's gonna give it to 100 other artists. Right? They want to see what it looks like before they invest half a year in making a range of characters. So they want me to explore it, want me to be able to come up with different ideas to see where it potentially might go, and then define where it should go,
and then make it, right? And if I would take 1 week per drawing, you know, they would require me to sit there for years, and they don't have the money or time or patience for me to do that. So they want to see rapid explorations, and that's fine. I can't compete with the people doing the month-long drawings. I don't need to. So that's something also that's important to understand. You know, what kind of artist do you want to be at? You know, what do you want to do? But I can guarantee you, the ones with a beautiful sketchbook, they are more illustrators. There's always, you know, rules to the exception. So that's always important to keep in mind, you know. Man, I always love the magic grays that occur. Like, you see there's a band of red, but it isn't a band of red, because it's just cyan applied to grayscale. But it looks like red, and I love it. Every time I'm like, yeah. Casey mode, yeah. Illustrators, like wallpapers and splash art, any illustration really, like what's his name, Brad Wright, is that the right? Crypt Crawler is his nickname. For one Magic the Gathering main marketing art illustration with like 6 people, I think it was, or 8, he spent half a year painting. Half a year. Half a year on one painting. What? But it's an amazing piece of art. And there's nothing wrong with it. Is wrong with it if he's a concept artist in the you know, but he isn't. One second. Hello, would you like some extra phone package? Blah blah blah. No, thank you. All right, this is time's up. Brad Rigney. Tick tick. Yeah, it's Zelda tune. And for text messages, I have, hey, listen. Time is up. Cheers. All right, stream is over. Who should we raid? Okay, we're gonna raid someone we haven't raided in a long time. Usually he does like tits and ass pictures, but today he's not, so I'm gonna support him like Pavlov's dog. Good work, not tits and ass. Anyways, have a great day, have a good night. So I'm gonna do the outro, and after the outro I'm gonna take you to the raid, so don't go anywhere, and yeah, see you tomorrow for another warm-up. Until then, bye. Let's do the outro.